A deep dive into Outsmarting Reality by Nero Knowledge, the mechanics behind manifesting your desired reality. So in this video series, I'll try to break down the concepts, the practical takeaways, the wisdom, and other related topics related to this book by Nero Knowledge. And a few disclaimers before we start. This is not a book primarily about techniques and how to do things. They're more about why you're doing it and what this is. So if you're looking for specific techniques, they will come, but they're not the main focus. The second part is please do not misuse this information. Be ethical about it. And thirdly, I'm not trying to sell you anything. Think critically for yourself, but don't think critically of yourself. So why should you listen to this? This is an experiment you're running. This is not to be dogmatic or following in a recipe. Test it out for yourself. If it doesn't work, you at least tried something and you tried with a method, which is great. Then you have evidence for yourself. And if it does work, well, you control your reality now, so congratulations. The second part is this worked for me. I manifested 2 times my salary by doing less and increasing my frequency. I also have no incentive for doing this other than seeing more people create. So that's all I want out of this. And thirdly, energy management is eventually about your internal state, your attention, your belief, and your conviction. And if you don't want to take a spiritual and metaphysical lens on this, you can still look at it from a scientific perspective. And thirdly, before we start, isn't this being delusional? Both yes and no. Delusion is described as someone who doesn't really have a grip of reality. And in a way, you don't really have a grip of physical reality when you dive into this concept. But being delusional is something we are every single day. We assume we're going to live. We assume a lot of things. So in one way or another, we're all delusional. So why not use it to your advantage? The second part is this is not something you just think about and do. You also have to take some actions. What you can think about is this is a way to boost whatever you're doing in your life and guide. So you're charging yourself up from a level that you're currently at. And thirdly, you choose to accept the reality you think you deserve. If you think it's true in your mind, it is true. So with that, I think we should get started. Some key vocabulary that is used as well. Frequency, old frequency, new frequency. It's just a way of saying your current state of beliefs, conviction, perception, thoughts, focus, mood, reactions, and expectations. The old one is your unaware version that maybe serves you or maybe don't serve you. And the new one is your newer version, your higher version. And these are concepts we will talk a lot about in the videos to come as well. You also have magnify and maintain, sacrifice, ability to follow through. Magnify and maintain is the universal mechanics. We'll dive deeper into that. It's how the universe works. It wants to either maintain the balance and give you more of what it wants to maintain. And conviction is your way of believing that something is true. It's closely related to expecting something. You also have sacrifice, which is when you sacrifice your old frequency for your new one. You have ability to follow through, which is closely linked to building self-trust and self-mastery. Reaction versus response. Reacting means the old frequency, and response means the new frequency. And energetic ceiling is a fancy way of saying your self-worth. How much are you worth and how much do you think you can achieve in this reality? With that being said, Outsmarting Reality by Nero Knowledge. These are 20 chapters, laws, principles, and practical takeaways packed into different type of way of saying something. Very Gen Z friendly, very modern in a way. And the book covers a lot from essentially step 1, being very unaware and incompetent, to being more competent throughout the book and gaining knowledge. This is something that probably is going to take some time to integrate. I don't know how long it's going to take. It depends on you, but it might take some time. And there are both theoretical and practical takeaways, so you will get what the metaphysics is behind what he's trying to say, and you'll also get some practical examples. And it's essentially a step-by-step guide on how to create your desired reality. And you can also read a bunch of other books and pick out the nuggets, or you can use this lovely book. I'm also not sponsored in any way. So the big idea here is reality mirrors your dominant frequency, and that's the principle of the 2 M's, magnify and maintain. And the old frequency, which is habitual thoughts and emotions, tries to keep you in the same life. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to increase your old frequency to a higher frequency. And mastery, or the new frequency, is becoming aware of you as the author of your frequency and life. And we can take examples from both esoteric and classical self-help development books. If we start on the self-help book side, you have A Mindset by Carol Dweck, a professor at Stanford, and Atomic Habits by the journalist James Clear, Ikigai and You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza as well. These are all books on the more self-help side, trying to make you realize the same things you will realize in this book. And on the more esoteric side, you have the Kybalion by the 3 Initiates. You have Feeling is a Secret by Neville Goddard, Bhagavad Gita, and The Game of Life by Florence. What I can say about these books are they're also kind of self-helpy in a way, but they touch upon the more spiritual realm of things and the metaphysical side of things. And I would say the book is a good blend of both. It doesn't take one side or the other. Obviously more of a metaphysical side, but there are elements of both in this book. And some related concepts as well that might be beneficial as a mental frame of reference. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a pyramid, or a hierarchy of pyramid, with psychological needs at the bottom, safety needs, love and belonging, esteem, and then self-actualization. What we're trying through this book is essentially get you from psychological needs to self-actualization, because that's where creativity is, and pursuit and meaning and all those wonderful things. So we're trying to shift your polarity from being in survival to being someone who thrives. So that's one way to look at it. Another relating idea is the 4 stages of competence. We're currently at the unconscious incompetence stage, with the old frequency being our dominant frequency, and we're trying to become unconscious and competent, which is the new frequency. We're doing this naturally. So like any other muscle, like any other thing in life, this is something you have to consciously train at and become so good that you naturally are doing this by yourself. And then related idea number 3, I will not go deeply into this, but I'll cover some of the aspects here. You have something called cognitive biases, and here we have a list of different cognitive biases, and some of the ones that are prevalent in this book, just framed in different ways, are confirmation bias. You look for ways to justify your existing beliefs. That's a way of saying if you believe something is true, it's true in your own world. So have beliefs that are serving you. You have the framing effect, which is you allow yourself to be influenced by context and delivery. And what we're trying to create here is a frame which serves you and which makes your frequency increase. You have the placebo effect. Joe Dispenza talks a lot about this, but if you believe you're taking medicine, it can sometimes work even if it's fake. So it's the power of your mind and actually saying that you are the placebo in a way. And then you have some other aspects like groupthink, which is you try to disconnect from the hive mind and other stuff that we'll dive deeper into. But this is also a very cool way of looking at this book, or through this lens, through cognitive biases, if you're not into the spiritual aspects of things. So let's dive deeper into the main concepts of the book. You have the main idea, which is you switch internally to a state where you're no longer expected of seeing reality change, because you're so good within that it doesn't really matter what happens in external reality. And through that type of confidence, you attract your desired reality. That's the main idea here. You switch to an internal state that is making your external reality want you, rather than you chasing an external reality. You're essentially changing the cause and not the effect, which is amazing. And we'll dive so much deeper into that in this video series as well. And to get some context from other influential people, you have Nikola Tesla, who said that if you want to understand the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's a fancy way, or not even a fancy way, that's an eloquent way of saying if you calibrate yourself, you can really, really, really utilize the universe in the way it was meant to be utilized. Another main concept here is you control your emotions. We're taught from a young age that emotions are good or emotions are bad, and they're uncontrollable, but they happen. And that's not really precise. You have full ability to control your emotions, and the most amazing human beings that's lived on this planet have deep control over their emotions. So to say it in more frank terms, it's not about how often you get angry, it's about how long you stay angry, and also, more importantly, how quickly you can bounce back from being angry, right? Joe Dispenza calls this falling down from grace. There are other concepts similar in other books as well, but it's essentially not how long you stay angry, it's about how quickly can you get back up to a peaceful state, right? And this is maybe the most important part, at least for me. It's the multi-dimensional sequence. This made a lot of sense for me. It's the law of cause and effect applied. And you look that you start with the three mental levels, or the three planes of existence: mental, spiritual, and physical. Mental is your frequency, spiritual is the ocean, the infinite intelligence, then physical is our reality. And a lot of people nowadays only live in one of these realities, which is the physical one. But to fully utilize this, you have to use your mental abilities and the trust in the universe to fully utilize what you can create in this world. And to kind of expand on this, you have this amazing sequence from attention to desired reality. This is something that I've never fully realized, so I've understood each of these pieces. For instance, with attention, I've heard Don Dapani, for instance, talk about attention and focus and how important that is. It also is an essential idea in the Bhagavad Gita, but I've never seen the sequence so eloquently filled. So that's one of the key takeaways from the book as well. So it's essentially that the attention you put on energy or emotion, which is energy in motion, eventually leads to a certain kind of vibration, which is an energetic signature, a mood, a certain little wave, if you may, and that accumulates into your frequency, which is your beliefs, your convictions, your perception, emotionally charged thoughts, focus, reactions, and expectations. You can frame this as your internal software. And then you have intuition and mental nudges, which is kind of the universe's way of pushing you in a certain level of direction. So the first part, the mental part, is you put your attention on increasing your own frequency. You let the universe or the infinite intelligence use that as guidance for your higher self, and then come back to you with compelled actions. So you can think of this as two different softwares. One is your software and the other one is the spiritual software. and then you get some feedback. And then finally, you have the actions you take, and when you do actions in the physical world that are aligned mentally and spiritually, you will essentially create your desired reality. And this is not something you're not doing today. You are 1000% doing this today. It's just being more calibrated and more deliberate in the process of making your desired reality. Because everything you've created up until this life, up until you listening and watching this video, is your desired reality. It might not be as calibrated as you want it to be, or as beautiful as you want it to be, but this is 1000% something you've created so far. So if all of this is something you've created this far, imagine how amazing your life will be when you can actually take charge of the way you want it to be. So this is a bit of a funny slide, but it's about taking care of your mental garden from the age we're young all the way up to adolescence and adulthood. And when we get into relationships and friendships and gain enemies, we all collect a bunch of beliefs. And these beliefs, some of them, they serve us, and other beliefs, they limit us in a way. And maybe they served us for a while. Maybe we learned some things that were serving us, like don't trust this person and never trust a person. But growing those beliefs don't necessarily make you align with your desired reality. So a lot of the work here is to take care of your mental garden. And this is essentially what the book is about as well. Taking care of your mental garden. Planting good seeds, removing bad ones, and mentally transmuting them into better ones. And we'll get deeper into techniques and that type of stuff later in the videos to come. So here are a high level of all the chapters presented. The way I will be doing a deep dive is I will divide these into blocks, and then I will go into each chapter, add whatever quotes or whatever wisdom that I have that can be beneficial for the way to process this book. And here are a meta summary of the laws, mental, spiritual, and physical aspects of the book. So some of the core principles are as within, as without, which is a way of saying your internal state reflects whatever is happening outside. You can only have what you already have, which is the annoying law. Magnify and maintain is also critical, which is the way the universe works, the two M's. Morality, the universe isn't necessarily moral. Gravity, for instance, isn't moral. That's an example that's used in the book. And then you have frequency, which is a pillar in this book. And these are the governing laws, and you can look at this as universal laws that are beneficial to kind of create a mental frame of this book. Then you have the mental aspects, which is essentially attention and self-mastery. That is kind of the two keys here. And we'll touch a lot upon how to gain those things. And then you have this more spiritual stuff, and it's essentially about how you make an internal shift and how you create trust between the mental and the spiritual. And then you will also see some effects in the physical realm, which is, things will still happen, and maybe people will start to disconnect from your life, and you become more independent. Leaving the frequency has some consequences, and you try to outrun your actions and that type of stuff. So this is a meta summary of the book and a way to kind of frame it. So universal laws, mental, spiritual, and then physical. And then if you add those to what we already know, you have the 3 planes of existence, which is mental, spiritual, and physical. You have the multi-dimensional sequence, which is going from attention to desired reality. And then you have 2 boxes, one purple, which is the not needing response, or the way you want to respond to things that doesn't necessarily serve you. Not needing, being cool, nonchalant, saying it's okay, it's fine. So let's say you you experience self-doubt, then you have a it's okay kind of reaction. It's fine. It doesn't really bother me. And that's that's a very, very, very neat trick, but it's also a key pillar in the book. And the other one is manifestation muscle. You start with I don't want to say small, but you start to train your muscle to kind of see that you are deliberately creating this reality. And then you have 2 techniques, the 2-part visualization loop and emotional alchemy, and we'll touch upon that in the next video. So this is a high-level overview of the book, and if you find this fascinating, please keep watching, and I'll see you in the next video.